The show features adults using adult language and discussing mature topics. You have been warned.
The most
No.
Did a
professional.
transition.
No.
You guys are getting paid?
I didn't
We
say
didn't say anything about
I
pay.
didn't say anything about that. There she is.
So,
Last time, the only thing I recall, aka what I looked up like half an hour ago, was that Del Diablo kind of exploded in a way, like the barrier's gone, and corruption's spreading, and we are calling everybody for what was the place the Justice League always went to? Fortress of Solitude.
no, that's Superman's hideout.
Hall of
The-
Justice.
The Hall of
Hall of
Justice.
Justice, that's what it
Which
was.
I think
So-
I've actually
The Hall
seen
of
driving
Justice?
through. Pretty sure I've seen that driving through Ohio once.
That's the Football Hall of Fame. It's the only thing we got here. Anyway, the oh yeah, and it's Super Bowl weekend, so it's probably gonna be nuts. In any case,
Yeah.
happy superb owl weekend, everybody. The
Woo!
we are trying to contact all of the world's mightiest heroes, and with just a lot of important people that we know, and we're trying to get a meeting with them to figure out how the heck we're going to stop the world from getting fully corrupted. I think we got a lot of allies in Del Diablo that we were talking to. I know we were trying to contact Sammy. Sammy said, "Oh, I'm busy with things," and then there was a side tangent that she totally wasn't talking with somebody else that we might know. By we, I mean like her and crypto. No, Simon's back, so Simon would know as well. Her name starts with and we're talking, yes, Lalara, and we're talking with some people are talking with Henshin and some people Passion in her group. A lot of things here and there. I think something about dragons. I think Vinna was wanting to go talk with us some kind of laser dragon or something. Said it was her sister or something.
Mm-hmm. Yeah. So we left off with the group of you having just reunited after the attack on the Bastion, the headquarters of the Knights of the Grid, and the arrival of the Black Fleet in Del Diablo. Having split up, you guys regrouped, talked about what your options are, got some very much needed rest. So if you needed it, you could have a long rest, Vox.
About to ask because I'm down 100 hit points. I don't know why.
The fuck
Yes.
kind of cheese were you making?
That was the healing all your asses of corruption cheese.
That's right. Okay.
Okay.
It's exactly 100. I don't.
Yeah. That's why.
That's my favorite kind of cheese, by the way. Right up there, right up there with like queso fresco.
And
Queso
Apogee
fresco
code
and
bullshit.
cure corruption cheese. And the group of you had talked about the idea of calling together a sort of town hall to gather all of the powerful movers and shakers in the world that you know to try and figure out what the hell to do about this Circle of Night and all of the stuff that's happening with corruption in Del Diablo. That evening, while you were resting, Sammy and someone else did have a talk, but they're off doing their own thing for the moment. And Crypto had an interesting conversation with Rook. And I will say that we will. At this point, you guys have spent a couple of weeks reaching out to different individuals from your various contacts in Ranger Command, in the Knights of the Grid, reaching out to some of the world leaders that you know, so the King and Queen of Subnautica, and anybody else that you guys can think of to try and gather up a handful of people for a place for a meeting in a town hall. You guys had reached out to the digital guardian, I believe, to try and make a very safe virtual world room that basically can't be infiltrated in any way, so that all of these world leaders are, not sitting ducks for an awful terrorist attack or some nonsense. And I'll say that at this point, we'll say about a month later. What would you guys have been doing in that time? This is like you
1 month.
1 month.
1 month later.
Yeah, 1 month, and then we'll keep doing a couple skips as we go throughout the evening.
Okay.
Already happening, or like, did it already happen, or?
The meeting has not happened yet. This is after 1 month. You guys will have contacted everybody, picked a date, arranged a safe place to meet. Who would you like to invite to this event?
I think that Vinna would have like worked with crypto to like establish some things, like, be on the forefront of like us contacting people and making a plan of what we want to do and how we're gonna execute it. I mean, I don't think that she knows a lot of people, but she knows how to talk to a lot of people. So she would reach out to everybody else to be like, all right, who do you know? What can they do? Yada yada.
So
Onward and onward.
I believe right now the guest list consisted of the Digital Guardian, the King and Queen of Subnautica, and perhaps some folks from Ranger Command.
I was actually going to posit that Vox would probably be trying to contact Nocturne to see how far we want to let info go into public during the first week, but then after that, seeing whether or not we wanted to get the rank reds or anybody else involved in the conversation, just so that way we have the force en masse.
Yeah, so regarding like flow of information, there is not really much keeping a bottle on what happened. Like, everybody in the world very quickly knows that the wards are down, corruption is spreading. For this
Yes, but
particular
there's a difference
meeting,
between knowing the bomb dropped and knowing who picked when.
Mhm.
So like it's the delegation of what is public knowledge, private, secret, top secret, etc.
Yeah,
Like other government agencies.
Can I help you? Sorry, the dog just
I
rolled
wish.
up and licked my elbow. I'm not giving you
Salty.
French fries. Fuck off.
Why not, Cat?
Because they're
I
Greek
want
fries.
French
They have
fries.
stuff on them that you're not allowed to have.
Those sound really good. Tell me about those.
They're so amazing.
I'm listening.
What are they flavored with?
They're Greek fries. They have it's oregano and I don't remember what kind of cheese and
Feta?
tzatziki sauce. It's amazing.
Oh, okay. So they literally just take gyro and throw that shit onto a thing of fries.
I've had gyro fries exactly like what you're describing, where they put like the meat and the tzatziki on top of like a bed of fries instead.
Oh,
It's so heart-stoppingly
fuck
good.
me. That sounds amazing. Excuse me. Don't swear like other heroes, kids.
Have you met this group? We do that as shit
I'm
all
being
the time.
mindful. I remember when I
Oh,
first
okay.
got to guest on here, and I got let's try to keep it PG-13. But yeah.
Scotty puts that disclaimer on almost all of his episodes eventually, so I think we can just roll with it.
It's feta cheese, by the way. I actually had to look at their menu because I have the memory of a goldfish. Yeah, so
Feels Ricardo was gonna riot.
that sounds awful. No, okay, no. I'm not a big fan of ricotta cheese on its own. Like, in a lasagna, it's all right, but on its own, no, thank you. Anyway,
I like it fried up as a pancake.
Huh.
in a pancake or as a pancake?
That's what I heard as.
As a pancake, there's a
Okay.
thing called sireniki, which is like a cheese pancake. It's like
Aya,
ricotta,
send me the recipe,
egg, and
please.
flour, and like
Just
you fry it up.
instantly.
Yeah, no, I don't even need to be told. Like, I need to know about this in my life.
So is this just like a cheese latke?
Everything could be a cheese a latke if you call it that, but
Hey,
it's a
Jimmy,
pancake.
what was your favorite episode of Retroverse?
Is
We
like
talk about Greek
We're
food
talking
for a
about
really
cheese
long
for a
time.
long time.
is latke like supposedly like the Jewish equivalent of sandwich, where everything is a sandwich, but everything is
No, latke is
No, I was asking.
potato.
This question was directed at Bob. Like that was.
No, it's a potato pancake.
I'm
Anyway.
aware of what a latke
Very
is.
simplified. Very simplified.
So, as far as the rest of the world is concerned, they believe that the Circle of Night and whatever the hell the Black Fleet is are working together. The majority of the common folk don't really differentiate the two just because they don't really know the difference. And also because the Black Fleet are a basically boogeyman that is, for the moment at least, is contained within Del Diablo. They have not been able to leave the confines of the city proper because the entire city of Del Diablo has rallied around making sure that they cannot leave. That said, corruption is still spreading naturally throughout the rest of the world. There are tons of rescue efforts going down with Ranger Command constantly. Talking to them, Ranger 1 would definitely want to be in on this meeting. And Nocturne is interested in sending you guys a lot of information, though is a little hesitant about going, considering his position as like spy master.
Well, I figured that he would be doing some sort of a Kagemusha shenanigans or just having me go as a voice box, so to speak. But regardless of that, I figured he'd want to be more involved in the conversation. And then again, how he wants to delegate, whether or not he wants to put out the rank reds of the team squads or the leads of the independents, so on.
Yeah, their Ranger Command is probably the most active that they've ever been. Every single Ranger, even those that are retired, those that are only partially members, everybody is being tapped for this.
Cool. Yeah, that's what Vox would be doing during that first month, and then probably working with Simon to see about what's happening with code shenanigans. Keeping it short.
Anybody else? Any potential like world leaders that you guys might be interested in talking with? I know that you guys only really know one, but you can obviously you have enough sway at this point. You could reach out to some of the others.
Crypto, what do you want to know?
Probably should reach out to Passion's team because I think they know a lot more people in different areas than we do. So we can reach out to them and see if they can point us in any directions and see if any of those people will be willing to listen to us.
Hell yeah. Passion.
Passion would mention that the majority, like the leaders of Del Diablo, aren't going to leave town. It's just not what they do.
Can we send them a Zoom link?
You might be able to get Susan in on this meeting just because she's sort of the face of the group of them. But she'd probably remote in considering everybody is
that's fine.
very distracted. She does also mention we have met a acting president of Los Angeles. Last I heard, he was still there, but that was like a month and a half ago, so who the hell knows by now.
Yeah, let's try.
But he was pretty reasonable.
What is that place?
Yes, Bob, it is that. The holiday special of
Hold on, that's the 199 hero, and I'm
Okay,
gonna do a bigger one with riders in a second. But you're welcome.
thank you.
I've been having dreams about that.
But she says, yeah, he was pretty helpful. Anybody that borders Del Diablo might be helpful,
Yeah.
honestly.
Yeah.
So you guys know that the Giga cities that border Del Diablo are Los Angeles, Giants Peak, Neo Avalon, Luxor Prime, and Shia Arcology.
Shut up.
Yeah. Worth a shot trying to reach out to them or something like that. And then the only other thing, like, I think Crypto might be doing during that, at least that first month, is talking more with Rook, trying to figure out just get more an idea of corruption and seeing if he can help bring out more of that power, kind of, and maybe hang out with Ollie. But yeah.
Yeah, he'll answer any questions that you have about corruption regarding the large scale stuff of like how to stop the spread of it. He doesn't have a ton of ideas just because it's not a thing that's ever really happened before.
Right.
Anybody else have any ideas?
I'm helping.
I was gonna say, like, Simon's already got his hands full with the project that he and Vox are working on, but if at any point he gets a chance to like phone home and catch up with a half note,
Mm-hmm.
it may occur to any of them possibly that some of the old research from their days, trying to weaponize the stuff might prove useful here. Might be time to go dust off the old project tapes.
Like Ollie doesn't know anyone, but so the best that I think that she could do is like she's constantly trying to help Vinna and Crypto and like call all of those people, and it's just like, hello, I'm a representative of the moon. I'm the last one. How are all of you? Anyway, that's basically it.
So
On the side, I'm building a rocket ship.
okay,
as a
as
side
you do.
project. Like in The Sims 4, where you can just casually build a rocket ship in your backyard. That's what I'm doing.
Yeah.
This vessel is not structurally sound.
Not yet, but I'll fix it. Okay, Gouda, don't even worry about it.
This unit goes by the designation Ricotta.
So I'll say after about a month of work, Vinna, you've gotten the ship along with Kent's help to, you think, spaceworthiness. As long as you don't hit anything, should be fine. And you guys are ready for that meeting. Who would like to go? If everyone would, that's fine. And do you guys want to describe what the meeting place looks like, or do you want me to?
Ricotta has probably set it up specifically in the grid. That's what he does. Think like it looks like a low poly table. Bless you.
Sorry, go ahead.
Blessings from your specific deity of choice. Anyway.
It looks like a...
It'll be a round table. Big round table. It'll be one of those like almost war room ones where it's like the middle is hollowed out, so just like the big donut one, the big ring, and it will have hard vector outlines on it, and it will be kind of like almost look like a Tron room, but a little more well lit. Like if you've seen Tron Legacy, the room the protagonist guy was in as they were fitting him up for the game. That kind of aesthetic.
So I have a question about that though, Ricotta. With regard to spatial recognition, if we're having a lot of people, are we doing more like if I'm trying to talk to somebody across the way, ain't happening? Is there like a screen thing where if you're trying to direct to people, you can see them on a little interface? Or are we going full Zele from Evangelion?
I was getting to that. It would be essentially a big group chat, and whoever, only one person could speak at a time.
A token
And
ring.
it would go to everybody at normal volume. It wouldn't be like going a loud microphone that boosts through the whole room. It's more of like it sounds like they're right next to you, and like the middle of the room is like almost like a Star Wars hologram of them.
Okay.
And there will be like different flags for each nation. He'll probably try to make everything as neutral and not threatening. But
Yeah,
still
so
Tell my wife I said hello.
You know, like a
hello.
boring government Congress meeting.
So the group of you arrive for this meeting, I'll say probably first. And then the next person to arrive would probably be is a very regal looking Pa Saren, wearing these long immaculate robes, just covered in gold all over the place. You guys would recognize this as the Emperor Pharaoh Pakis, the leader of Luxor Prime. I'll just go through who's here. The Chancellor and a couple of the senators from Shire Arcology. The acting president Benziva of Los Angeles, who is a short little kobold with tattoos all over his scales. King of the Mountain from Giant's Peak, who is a Goliath Henshin, actually, with a badger companion that came with her to the virtual world. And from New Avalon is the Pendragon, the effectively monarch of that area. As well as Ranger 1, a couple of other henchmen, one of which Vox probably recognizes as a disguise that Nocturne has used before. And the Digital Guardian. As well as, if Crypto would invite him, also Crypto's dad.
Yeah.
Have you talked to your dad before this?
Did we go and
Yeah.
pay them
We
a
had a
visit at one
whole
point?
thing.
Yeah, we like
That's right.
We
You're
did a
right,
whole
you
thing,
are
Ira.
Yeah.
we
It's
know them.
been like 4 months, Callie.
For
Yeah.
those unaware, we have not met his dad on screen, but in our private Discord, we have had basically play-by-post RP sessions of everybody meeting Crypto's family, including his dad and his mom. It was delightfully awkward and very awkward.
I
So-
gave his siblings toys.
But yeah, Crypto's dad would be a good like liaison, kind of mediator between every other group, since he's kind of none of those organizations.
So who do you think that would be best to lead this discussion?
As in out of the different organizations?
Or among yourselves?
Not it.
Damn it.
I'm representing
not
the
gonna-
moon. I'm not.
All he wanted to be included.
I
so we
want
printed
that
her
so
how,
bad.
Yeah,
like,
absolutely.
black.
She made like
That's
her
a
own like.
representative of the moon.
Just imagining she spent this whole time like embroidering a flag with like the moon's crest.
In the name of the moon, I'm gonna delegate properly.
Vinna would absolutely ask Ollie if I can be part of her moon kingdom.
Okay, but she had that
Okay,
that
pay
like
taxes now,
dream
please.
talk. She had that dream talk with her I don't know if you guys saw it in the chat, but she had that dream talk with the Lunar Queen, and who was basically like Lion King, she lives in you now kind of situation.
Yeah.
Like,
That is an amazing reference and an excellent shortcut to what actually happened.
yeah.
Yeah, you basically got the gist. There was a lot of crying involved, but like, you know.
There was a lot of crying. I cried like in the bathroom at work because I was like, this is so emotional. What is happening? But anyway, that's just me. She definitely embroidered the moon the tapestry. And she's just like sitting like off to the side, you know. It's not like a whole thing, but yes, Vinna could be included in it.
So what? You're like the kids table / ticket table where everybody gets to get their sheet to vote and then put it through the scannulator. Is that what's happening
What
with the
the
moon
fuck,
getting away
man?
from the
We-
war room?
I lived on a moon for 1,000 years. I feel like I can be a citizen of the moon at this point.
Yeah, no, like as residents of the moon,
I was genuinely asking. You said you were off and away, so I was like,
no,
No, like,
I don't. If there's like a seat that she could sit at, like I don't know how many.
Yeah, you guys all have a seat at this table.
I'm imagining
Okay.
like a model UN situation where
Yeah.
there's- Well, I
Right.
guess it would be actual UN, but like, you know what I
Yeah.
mean.
So, are any
so
of you
if
guys
nobody else in this
interested
group
in
wants to take it on,
I mean,
Vox
I
will offer
could.
Interested in what now?
in leading this discussion that you guys are about to have?
I will field the table and act as the MC for this discussion.
So I think it was Vinna, Vox, and Simon that all suggested that they could.
I mean, I can't say anything to the code. I'm acting as a rep for the communications department in Ranger Command, but I have no problem deferring in that direction.
So, this meeting is now called to order. So first, let's have an update on the status of the Citadel. Knights, how do you fare with the recovery efforts?
The digital guardian is sort of like sitting one knee up on the chair, resting partially on the trident she carries. Well, our numbers are still depleted. In the attack, we lost about half our force. We've managed to resurrect and find a couple that were MIA, but we lost thousands. But our drive is unwavering. We're doing everything that we can to make sure that anybody that is in the expanding degradation zone can be evacuated safely, usually through the virtual world, which is a little safer and makes travel much quicker. We have units that are basically patrolling all of the areas of the degradation zone that are nearing population centers, along with, and she sort of nods over to Ranger 1, along with Ranger Command, to make sure that evacuations are done as safely and quickly as possible. We're working on getting our strength back up, but it's a long time going.
Well, we wish you all speed and recovery. Speaking to the degradation zone, though, let's turn our attention now to our allies from Del Diablo. How goes the efforts to contain the expanding zone?
So you guys all turn to look at the one screen for pretty much the only person that came to this meeting that is not here in person is Susan, who's here basically via Zoom call. Does not look like what the majority of you guys would expect of someone from Del Diablo. She looks just like a regular middle-aged woman with blonde hair wearing like a dress that's kind of like a little professional but a little like floral summery the equivalent of a sundress that's business casual.
Charming. So, Miss Susan, if you would.
Well, we're doing everything that we can to ensure that although the degradation zone is spreading uncontrollably, we are certain that the Black Fleet is not going anywhere. Our militias have been relentlessly pursuing any that get anywhere near our borders. And we have a small collection of adventurers, as it seems the group of you do, and she sort of looks over to where you guys are sitting, that are being very helpful in those endeavors. The hierarchy of the city are working together to ensure that everyone within Del Diablo that is unable to join the fight is safely sequestered away in underground bunkers. And every member of our hierarchy is doing everything that we can to ensure the survival of our people and that the Black Fleet doesn't leave.
Any progress or hope of restoring the city wards?
Sadly, I don't think that's quite possible. The wards were created long before I ever took my place in the hierarchy. They date back to the foundation of the city itself, in a time where magic was not limited in the way that it is now. Effectively, the ritual that created these wards would have used, say, like 10th or 11th circles of magic level effectively. And that's not really a thing that anybody we know is capable of doing anymore. I think right now our best bet is to ensure that the Black Fleet doesn't spread any further and find what it is that brought down the wards. I assume it's the circle.
Yes, well, thank you for that report, Miss Susan. And speaking on the circle, let us now turn our attention. Ranger Command, any leads on your intelligence gathering efforts?
Well, it does seem that this Black Fleet, as it were, they're all, every one of these ships is entirely manned by corrupted creatures. We know that the Circle of Night has been working with corruption, but it's not been quite this level. So our theory is that these are two factions that have allied themselves. I assume under the banner of this tyrant individual. He sort of looks over to Vinna.
Was there any word about Lluis?
Last I heard, I know that he is alive. He hasn't responded to our attempts to reach him or flag him via his recaster, but we lost the full communication with his recaster years ago. But we do know that he's still alive. I haven't seen any signs of him being active, as far as I know, but I can let you know that if I do. But my thought is that Susan and her folks down in Del Diablo are doing what they can to keep the Black Fleet at bay. I think we need to figure out how to stop the spread of the degradation zone and stop whatever the Circle of Night is doing. It makes me nervous that they're quiet after all of this. Although we have had reports that a number of their members have fallen. And at that point, he kind of looks to the group of you.
Well, efforts were made. It remains to be seen how effective truly they really were. Given the amount of force that was fielded at the bastion, it is entirely likely that my primary target did not entirely meet their end. So I concur that we should definitely try and find a way to contain the corruption from spreading any further. To our various heads of state, for any party here that has in the past committed any research to the control or command of corruption, now would be the time to pool resources.
So
in a gesture of good faith, I will offer forth the research that I myself was participating in at Rosa Gallica University.
One of the senators from Shire Arcology says, well, a number of our hospitals there have a series of De-Fraggers that have, it's sort of become our hazard zone for any cases of corruption that can't be cured in the field. I don't know how much more advanced their skills are beyond anything that any normal De-Fragger would see in the field, but they're certainly willing to help, I'm sure. And the Pendragon is this very regal woman wearing like silver armor and a blue sapphire blue cape over it. Says, bless you. I do know of a handful of organizations in Mayan City that might be that dabble in corruption adjacent sciences. They may be of value. They're probably the best contender is Solar United. They're probably the leaders in that field, at least in our town.
Anyone else? Thank you for that report, by the way.
Mm-hmm. The King of the Mountain, the giant Goliath, is sort of just petting this giant badger sitting next to her. She says, we don't really tolerate corruption in the peaks. It's not a thing that our communities tolerate. If we knew more, we would share it. I do think there are a handful of like rogue De-Fraggers that we've heard reports of, and particularly treacherous part of the mountains that I might be able to send some communications to reach out to them, although they're a sort of standoffish lot.
Well, this is hardly the time for half measures. Make sure you send your best diplomats.
Certainly. And with that, the digital guardian looks over to the group of you. I know that you've had a lot of dealings with all of this. Do you have any ideas for what might be done to stem the flow of corruption coming out of here?
I've had some brief words with a corrupted creature. And as it seems that as much as corruption it like hurts us or affects us, vice versa. Where they come in, the corruption comes into our world and corrupts us. We do the same to them, and I believe that's partially why. At least that's what they partially believe why the Black Fleet is here. But if you would like, you can talk to them yourselves. If you have any questions.
Did you bring them?
Yeah. And so during that month, could I have said I got that major rune tat?
Yeah.
So.
Which one is that again?
Specifically, I picked the mage hand one, and figured just use, just channel Rook into that mage hand, and so it's more like when Venom comes out of Eddie and he's just a little floaty thing. It's so just like
Retroverse also has a thing like that.
I think he have just a tentacle.
This is something like that.
He has. I know he has a tentacle,
and he can make potions or something.
You guys are buds now.
No, he can make cookies, and then he has the cook feat now, and then
I thought someone had they rolled at a d6 and they can make.
No, he does have that. I think he forgot about that now that I think about it.
Anyway, it was yeah, and I basically just summon an ethereal staticky hand that just kind of flips into Rook's general face.
Yeah, several people sit back sort of abruptly, having not seen this, and the group of you have. I don't think any of you guys have seen it either.
No, this was training in secret.
Yeah, you guys.
A Spider-Man point. I know you. From
behind Crypto's back, you see another little tendril of that, and it's just another pointing finger at you.
So
he's gonna be my best friend.
This is Rook. To give a quick context to why Rook is here, I was part of some sort of experiment by an organization called Canopy, where they were tampering and testing corruption. So,
you guys see NT, Crypto's dad is just sort of he doesn't sit back, but he is absolutely holding onto the table with a death grip and equal parts terrified and incredibly impressed.
Stop it.
People are being horny in chat. Surprise, surprise.
You kind of have to be his best friend if you're dating his body, you know?
Dating his body. Phrase of the night.
Host? The digital guardian.
We'll talk about it later.
Wrong? You're gonna look at me and tell me that wrong?
Hinata is not dating Kuruma. It's not part of it. It's just there.
Yeah.
The subtleties can wait.
The digital guardian at this point actually like sits up properly and puts her foot down on the floor. And so you're a creature entirely from the other side, then? Yeah. The weird staticky form that is Rook sort of ripples around a bit. Yeah, I came from through the eye. Um, when I got here, something, I guess canopy, picked me up, put me in a beaker, and then into a syringe, and then into crypto here. I've been sort of sitting there for a while, low level, that is not a level of corruption that any of you guys could become infected with. And at that, like a couple of a handful of them sort of like relax, and a handful more look even more uncomfortable.
Good.
But what he says is right. The Black Fleet, the reason that they're here is because there was a treaty that was broken. And at that, Ranger 1 sort of, that's the treaty that Passion mentioned on Henshin Day. There was an ancient pact that basically meant to protect Del Diablo from the rest of the world, and the rest of the world from Del Diablo. And it said that if war were to break out, the wards would come down, which they've now done. And Rook sort of just shrugs and, yep, that happened. I don't know. This sort of thing, this whole diplomacy stuff doesn't really work the same back home. I don't know that peace is gonna work this time around. I don't know that there's any way to put this stuff back in the bottle, really, other than, I mean, I don't know if it's possible, but like these chuckleheads have mentioned like closing the eye. And at that, there are like murmurs of people talking of like, is that even possible? What would that look like? That's crazy. And then like, fuck yeah, that sounds like a genius idea. We should have done that 8 years ago. And then the individual that Vox knows is Nocturne disguise sort of sits up. So how would that be done? Any clue to that? Do you have any idea what? We don't know what the eye is, other than that it's a tear in reality.
Just from
suggests perhaps a mass ritual, although of what nature, I do not know.
The only thing I have experience with are smaller frays, but they are to, they're not quite to the corruption zone or whatever we call it, but still, frays are frays, and if we can close tiny ones, one person can close a tiny one.
The digital guardians as well. Then maybe many working together
could close a big one.
See, I worry about the fact that you guys lost a lot of numbers. It might need to be some recruitment before we get to that point.
To that, Vox will point to not Nocturne and say, I know it's not really where we stand. There's a sort of separation between the groups, but if Ranger Command could somehow offer assistance, I mean, it's not the first time that we would have had to point our unified power at the same point. So
absolutely, if this is something that, if you can get the volunteers, we can get the volunteers to support. I imagine you guys could probably use the firepower, considering I don't think the Black Fleet are going to really appreciate y'all rolling up to their front door with the intent of closing it, I guess. And at that, Susan says, "Oh, absolutely not. They would, they would not like that. That would go very poorly." But if
Not to be the cloud in the room, though, the other half of this is, what happens if we do close it? Do we know that that's not going to hurt anything else on either side? The people of Del Diablo, they've been able to sustain themselves within the wards. If they're cut off from the corruption, would that
the way
nullify
that
them?
our understanding of the energy that comes from the eye is that what's here is here to stay unless it can go back through of its own violation. So whatever corruption has come through already, as well as what's in the degradation zone, it won't necessarily go away, but we can you could cut off the flow, perhaps.
Not what I mean. If the people within Del Diablo were being sustained because they had too many layers to sustain themselves within the rest of the world, if they're cut off from whatever this connection to the eye that they have is in their protection within Del Diablo, what does that mean for them?
Yes, without the constant flow of corruption, they would need to be cured. Perhaps relocated. I've heard stories that there are places here within the virtual world that are a bit more accepting of corruption than many of the places on Radix. That could be a potentiality. I would prefer not. I don't want to see my city broken any more than it already is, but anything to save the people.
I have to consider relocation to the virtual world. And again,
If that's necessary, we can do that.
and again, curing all those people that want to be cured is going to take a lot of time and effort. So any help would be good.
Anyone who can fight while they're corrupted.
All of our citizens that can fight are currently fighting. Literally all of them. It's the hierarchy of Del Diablo extends beyond the 9 lords and ladies of which I'm a part of. Our entire structure of our society is built in such a way to allow everyday citizens the ability to train and learn to defend their own neighborhoods, and that's what they're currently doing. When you speak of closing the eye,
I have a question, like above table. Is there a an organization or like I guess the best way to put it. Is there any kind of organization that focuses around the code from the point of view of the Apogees? Those who can actually manipulate the code.
in Del Diablo?
Anywhere.
So you know that there are very few Apogees in the world. You have heard of one individual that's exceptionally skilled at it. That I believe you guys actually met.
Because the thought had occurred to me that perhaps trying to encrypt a border around the degradation zone might make it harder or stop its progress altogether if it's unable to interact with the data of the matter it's encountering.
That could work. I've heard some people describe corruption as a corruption of the code of what makes up the universe. If there were, say, a firewall of types that may block it.
A firewall. That would be just the thing.
Susan says, if you do intend to go to the eye, I must warn you, going through there, anything that goes through doesn't come back the same. Actually passing through utterly changes one and would send you, we believe, to the deepest depths of the other side of the underverse.
Can we work on setting up a firewall to contain the degradation zone while we work on figuring out how to close the eye?
Oh,
Don't
absolutely.
have to cede more ground. I'll put out a broadcast call for any Apogee who may be able to help. We can surround the area, set up a perimeter, erect a firewall, then let the corrupted who are already exposed begin fighting us back a path into getting into the center so they can work on erecting a closure ritual.
And a question for Vinna. Do you think Kent would be at this meeting or would he be back home?
I mean, she would invite him.
He's probably sort of like sitting on the outskirts, just sort of like, because there are more than just these world leaders here. They all have like interns and various different staff and everything with them. He's sort of sitting back with them. He leans up and crouches next to your chair, Vinna. If you guys are really thinking about going up to the eye, a couple big ass energy breathing creatures that can fly might be really helpful.
As it happens, I just happen to know of one. Looking around, do I see the professor anywhere?
I will lean back to him and say, I was thinking the same thing. Good thing we're going to.
I 100% believed that Simon was going to suggest Bud. And I'll say that to the people near me.
The most powerful creature of
shock.
all.
I wasn't invited. I'm standing guard outside.
Love that Bud's a bouncer.
Little sunglasses, like ID, please.
You're not on the list, son.
ID, please. Looks at the
like,
box of
like,
donuts.
You're
There's
you're sitting outside. You're the one in charge of security, and there's like a security guard right next to him, and like a dog food bowl with biscuits next to him on the other side.
You think that can be bought? I joke to you?
Yes.
Being bodyguard to this secured room seems highly improbable. You're inside a tesseract within the grid. Ah, where am I?
Don't underestimate a plant, son.
Looking around, Simon, you do see a individual that is wearing a different outfit. It's like a nice suit, navy with like a tie, like decorated with different galaxies and star charts and whatnot. That looks a bit younger, but has the same sort of just poof of hair that the professor wore.
So like a different skin or like the same
It looks
bloodline?
Looks like him with maybe a very slight change to the disguise.
I see. Okay, well, so yeah, I'm fairly certain that we can reach out and contact a large energy breathing something or other, should the need arise. At least one.
Did you see him? Oh, that's good. So, at that point, the Warnari in armor that you guys know to be Crypto's dad sort of sets up. So, from what I believe, the plan is to gather our forces with the intent of sending a group to install a firewall around the degradation zone, and then a very large battalion of a number of different groups to attempt to close the eye. Yeah.
Yeah, what it sounds like so far. Obviously, we don't do anything hasty before everyone around
Well,
in the area and around are safe.
of
And
course, it'll take some time, but
yeah,
it's a plan.
it's a springboard at the very least.
And then obviously there is more to it than just this like short half-hour discussion, but unless you guys have any other things that you want to bring up, I'll say that you guys can close out and then have discussions amongst yourselves or with any of the other guests as this meeting breaks up. Some folks like immediately log out, some sort of mingle around to talk to others for a bit. Simon, you see that individual in the suit that looked a little familiar sort of wander over. But we can wait a second if you need a moment.
Oh no, I'm fine. How nice to see you. That's a nice skin you've got there.
Thanks. It's I figured no point keeping a pretense since at least a group of you know.
Wait, so I mean, is this more approximate to how your actual age is in relation to, dragon times? Are you actually like a youngin?
It's a good question. Let me check his actual age. And more of how I feel.
Well, that's nice. I mean, age is just a number after all. But so how this might be déclassé to ask, but how do you get on with your family?
Depends on the family. I have several clutchmates that are incorrigible, horrible creatures, and a couple that are tolerable.
Oh, okay. So of the tolerable ones, who do you think would be most willing to fight, and of the incorrigible ones, who do you think would be most willing to fight, just for the sake of the fight?
For the sake of the fight, well, I can think of quite a few. My particular bloodline tend to be a bit more interested in science and learning rather than just pure combat.
Why couldn't I pick those members of your family?
That said, some of their discoveries could be useful in times of war like this.
Well, we're all ears, so anything you have to offer will be appreciated.
I could see about doing so. I heard through the grapevine that some folks are talking about taking a trip to space. I could join if you'd like.
Well, I reckon there's room. I know I'm glad to have the assistance of a lightning breathing fellow in space. It's not fire after all. It's still useful.
Yeah. Crypto after the meeting, the digital guardian walks over, and I assume at this point Rook is probably like, okay, yeah, no, this is uncomfortable and weird. I'm out, bro.
Yeah, I mean,
she walks over. That was something. I don't think I've ever seen anything, any kind of corruption like that.
What can I say? I'm special.
I don't know if you've heard the name, but I recognize the name that came up during this meeting. I don't know if you caught it, but there was one mentioned, a Solari from New Avalon.
Now that you mention it, it does ring a bell.
You remember.
someone associated with Canopy, because it was Skylar told my parents, and then they told me when we visited.
I don't know if you're willing to work with this individual or talk to them. I had half a mind to pay a visit myself, although I imagine that your previous acquaintance has probably already made a visit.
For the sake of what's going on, we'll be willing to work with this person. But after whatever happens, we'll kind of see.
We'll deal with that when we get to it. And at that point, NT walks over. And do you want to describe what NT looks like again? Because I cannot find it in my sea of documents.
Yeah, he is. He's a little bit taller than Crypto. He is pure white, as he's a Winter Winari. He wears like reading spectacles or like regular glasses. But he's just a big dude.
He sort of walks over and looks to the digital guardian. She holds her hand out to shake and introduces herself. This plan you have about the eye, it's kind of crazy.
Yeah. I've seen what happens when small phrase, bounce back. So the possibility of that on a large scale would be quite devastating.
Kitty.
Staying tabaxis are following me again. How'd they get in here?
He says any support you need, be it of arms or just a couch to crash on. You know where we are.
Mm-hmm.
He sort of looks between you and the digital guardian and looks to her and says, keep him from dying if you could. And you do the same for your friends.
That's my plan.
And your new friend, apparently. When you told me about told us about it, that was not exactly what I was expecting.
I may have left some things out.
Perhaps, yeah.
I figured we had enough going on, right? Just with that one revelation, and so
yeah, I can't imagine hearing that on the same day of learning about everything else.
Yeah, but this thing is it's also a little bit new. It's something I've been practicing.
Well, good luck. Godspeed. You have good people with you, and you've grown into a very talented and powerful De-Fragger. Albeit one that, not one that I think anybody's seen the likes of before. And he sort of claps you on the shoulder and pulls you in for like a half hug and walks off.
How did I get myself into this?
Would any unit like a potassium and vitamin C supplement?
You have bananas?
Or bananas and oranges, yes. You notice Ricotta has like glasses for everybody, and it already has like smoothies. As he uses his chef feet.
Wow.
He's got 6 of them.
Wow.
Yeah, I mean, yeah, okay.
I'll say
Yeah,
at this
yes, please.
point, everybody is sort of broken off, and you guys are effectively in your own little corner of a breakaway room.
Is there is there another like De-Fragger or not De-Fragger, Apogee here to chat with about this whole firewall nonsense?
As you're sort of the virtual world is interesting in that stepping from like room to room is kind of instantaneous. There doesn't necessarily need to be hallways. You can just sort of pass a
No,
barrier
sure.
and instantly be there. As you go to do that, to step to this breakaway room, out of the corner of your eye, you see a shape of just like a trailing code that doesn't make sense for where you are.
Okay. That's an interesting experience. I'm going to look at it harder to see if I can figure out what it is exactly that is setting me off.
All right, give me 2 seconds while I pull them up. I have to pull up my notes because stuff. Looking over, you see this individual. It looks like a human man in these long silk robes that's just all over it are running different layers of code. And you've seen this individual once before at the bedside of Yost. This is the one. This is an individual that is known to be one of, if not the most powerful Apogee and masters of code, at least on Radix.
Well,
Is he
You would remember the last time that you talked to this individual, he tends to talk a little bit in riddles.
of course, because everything has to be a fucking query. Well, I will approach and offer them a three-way handshake and sin, and hoping for the act back.
He does the same, and then
Reese, you know Reese.
Looking for
like
you're getting that handshake.
goes to sit down, and out of this just empty void of where you are, where there's not really anything in this room aside from the like faint remnants of the code outlining 2 rooms between the ones that you were just in. He sort of manifests a leather chair out of nothingness and sits down. Simon, I believe, yes.
Yes, it's a delight to see you again. I'm glad you could make it to the summit. I have to know, do you think this idea could even work, this firewall, trying to encrypt a perimeter?
I think it could. It's not necessarily going to be easy. It would take a significant amount of work, several individuals that can manipulate the code working together. I would imagine it'll definitely take some trial and error, perhaps a couple of field tests, as it were.
With smaller phrase?
Or on the edge of the degradation zone. Cordon off a small section of it, see if you can stop the spread in a small part. If you can. If it doesn't, try again.
I'll be happy to lead the effort there if we can get a drive to rustle up some more of us.
I can reach out. There aren't many, and there are even fewer that are on this side of the fight, as it were, but
It worries me. The Circle of Night and all of this. What they might do. Especially now that they're wounded. They know we can hit them.
this is this up until this plan, everything has gone the way the circle has wanted. They got their war. They brought the wards down. Now it's just a question of why did they want that? You've spoken with a woman who talked of reality 2.0.
I think their aim is to destroy the universe and remake it in their own image. Place themselves at the Godhead and rule the universe of their own making.
I don't know where she thought she would obtain such a great amount of power, though.
I don't know. She could just well be insane. Or she might have some secret source of power that we don't know yet. If that's the case, then we should tread very carefully. Or maybe she hoped to harness the power of this corruption and try and feed her own abilities. It wouldn't be the first time people have tried.
It would not be. And it
It would not be the
In
first time that
ways-
Garth had interrupted a moment. Hello.
he looks so angry. Like
he,
literally
he does not like when I do that. He wants
his
to be on my
face
lap
just
though.
looks so downcast and so angry.
Sorry.
He says, I think the reality hacker has her eye on the eye as much as we do.
Well, let's poke it out as fast as we can. The sooner we can lock this thing down, the fewer individuals we will need to put towards the effort, so the area won't spread any further. And hopefully the simpler it will be for us to shut the rift forever.
That said, I heard about the explosion in the virtual world. Although I don't think it got rid of her. My sources indicate that it at least weakened her.
Well, at least it wasn't a total loss. It's quite the gamut, you know.
Sure was.
Still didn't find Lyra, though. But I
I'm sure
digress.
she'll find you.
Well, that remains to be seen. In the meantime, I best go and make some preparations and see if I can find some leads to try and get some paths started on this firewall business.
Indeed.
I'll await your signal.
I'll send it when I'm ready. And he sort of like steps back into like this hallway of nothingness and then just dissolves into a cloud of code.
Boy, I can't wait to do that.
And I'll say that you guys have a few moments to discuss the meeting that you guys just had before we may do another time skip.
Vox, Ollie, Vinna, Rakata, Simon.
Crypto. Look.
Donkey!
Yeah.
Oh, how
And all
long
of a
did you do
sudden-
that for?
Rakata just turns her direction.
I'm
And
sorry.
why didn't
it's
you
been-
tell me?
It's been a lot of talking about very heavy stuff, and I'm tired.
I
I
believe
don't know what to
Crypto
do.
has something to say.
Please go ahead.
Yes.
I forgot.
Well, shit.
want to go to Denny's?
Yeah! I mean, the
God, I hope
moon's
Denise
over
isn't
my
working
hammy.
right now.
What was
What?
that?
Nothing, being snarky.
Good. Keep doing what you're doing, bud. You do great at it.
Shucks.
But yeah, questions, comments about what just happened, what plans moving forward.
Creating a barrier seems like the most viable plan that we have. Perhaps maybe Apogees and those of the Digital Guardians could work on making such a thing, though would not be able to do it innately. Create some kind of tangible hardware in order to create such a feat.
Well, for certain, we'd welcome any assistance that the Digital Guardians feel fit to offer.
Doubt it could be done in reasonable time without this Black Fleet realizing what's going on.
Well, we can conduct a fair amount of the research in the virtual, but we're going to have to test out a couple of real-world theories to get a baseline.
Vox pokes in. If you're worried about paper trails, that's not an issue.
I am well aware of your censoring of Unit Barclay.
Well,
Shit.
yes, that too, but if you're worried about them knowing what we're doing, between myself, Nocturne, and the rest of the special ops team, we can keep things down if you're just trying to shop for items and get the right gear together.
Yeah, Kent steps forward, and for what it's worth, the majority of the degradation zone, the Black Fleet doesn't go to it. The degradation zone now exists beyond the borders of El Diablo, and as far as Susan mentioned, the Black Fleet isn't leaving their borders anytime soon if they have anything to say about it. We may still end up having to deal with some minions of the Circle of Night, but you guys have been dealing with that since day one, so that shouldn't be too much of an issue.
How about the Cyblade threat that seems to be allied with?
That might be a bit more of an issue. That actually, you mentioned hardware. That could be an interesting thing. So I know that obviously we'll need somebody talented with the code itself to actually create this code, this program. But if you could then load it into a device, that might help cut down on how many apogees we actually need to implement it.
I shall work
So,
with
like
the
a
Digital
relay
Guardians
Like
to see
a
what we
point
can
and shooting
use.
kind of gun, I feel like we could handle it.
I do have an idea on where to start, but I need to ask somebody's permission first. And like so saying, like I'm just gonna like mentally send a text to Vox's UI. Buddy, I know we talked about,
If
what
I'm
you're-
dead here, I can't get home. It's fine.
well, it's not mine to do with as I please, and I just wanted to not be the asshole.
I am giving you permission, is what I'm saying.
All right, then. I feel like it would be a very damn good encryption cipher. You might just save the world.
And the other thing is if we have these sort of devices or sensors set up all around areas of the degradation zone, we could also potentially use that device that the professor made that can detect cyblights and use that to at least give us some kind of early warning before they show up, especially now that they can kind of be more than just weird looking humanoids.
Does Ricotta have that device or schematics for it?
I think I actually just put together the technobabble that's going to be necessary to explain why this works.
I think that
I dropped it off with Cerberus.
yeah, I think last you guys heard it was with Corruption Crew, but it's not destroyed. They have it.
Professor built it. I'm sure there's blueprints or schematics or whatever. And Crypto would interject, like, if we could possibly mass produce those, that would be good. And don't we know a manufacturing plant in the virtual world?
Oh, someone's excited. Sorry.
Oh,
Was that the
I was
cat?
confused for a hot second because I'm like, you have cats. Oh, that's right. Your dad has dogs.
Oh, right. Yeah, that's right. It's like, that's
Like,
a
what
very
the
weird
fuck?
cat.
You do actually know. It's not a currently functioning one. Or actually, no, it was partially at least.
It could be
Um,
redone to
hmm
fit that purpose, and we know 2 people that live there.
It's, I mean, yeah, if it could work, that'd be awesome. I mentioned to Vinna that going up to the eye like that, some dragon friends might be helpful, and we did kind of just finish the ship to the point where I think it's space worthy.
Yep. So
Did you see the thing I sent?
Yes, and I asked you a question in response.
yeah, if you guys are making I guess a dragon run.
Dragon run. Yes, that's the thing that has to
Go to
happen.
the store real quick for dragon run. You guys need anything?
Yeah. Do you guys need some eggs or something?
Can I get a
No,
fun
just-
size kobold real quick?
Just some dragons.
Can't write that down. It's a new
Okay.
location. Dragon Run. That's actually a good
Dragon
location
Run.
name.
They all run like this.
Can you pick up some fireball?
Pulls out
You
some
are
whiskey.
way too young to drink, my young man.
The spell!
But also,
if you're going
If we're offering,
Bob's got to get crunk.
Now that you mention it.
Oh boy.
No, I don't get turned.
Um,
That scared off Garfield. He's like, I'm out of here.
Rug plans are out. All right, so Simon has an idea about what to do about this firewall thing, but it's going to require some refinement. Do we have anybody that's left over from the digital guardian still hanging about in this breakout room?
say that again.
Do we have anybody that's left in the digital guardian, like in the night's virtual?
Yeah, I'll say there are a couple of still hanging around. The digital guardian herself is gone. But I'll say you guys hadn't really noticed just because the crowd of people, but Makoto. And Makoto is actually there as well.
Hey, do y'all have some sandbox space that I could borrow to run a couple of tests on?
Yeah, definitely. I mean, we have a couple of training rooms left in the Bastion that weren't damaged, and we have a couple of ones that are well outside the realm of there if you're looking for distance.
Oh well, no, I'd like to keep it in the virtual just for the moment. This kind of stuff I don't want to get loose just because it's all experimental. So we definitely need it to be in an isolated environment.
Yeah, we can arrange that.
All right. Can we set up a time maybe tomorrow?
Yeah, of course.
All right. I got some preliminaries to do.
He'll send you like the equivalent of an invite.
So Simon is throughout just like for the rest of his time until this next bit. He's going to go and he's going to pull the research notes from when they were working on like containing the phrase and look at like some of the prototype tech they had to actually like put the containment up. And he's going to see if he can find some way to synergize that tech with the code manipulation and code writing abilities of the Apogees and using Voxhart's player code signature as an encryption cipher, basically to spoof admin rights in reality.
That's awesome.
Ricotta likes this techno travel.
So I will say that sort of sitting down and thinking about it and just banging out a handful of lines of code to see like what sort of things make sense and what might work. You are able to cobble together what you think is like the very beginnings of it. It would definitely, you'd need more than one person.
A blockchain, I'm sure.
No. No.
This episode brought to
Not
you
for
by
this.
Just like
Vaccine Crew
disdainful
NFTs.
NFT, not for this.
Callie's like disdainful laughter there. Amazing.
That was Aya. I was just cringing.
I swear to Christ, if we go into the degradation zone and we have to fight a bunch of non-fungible apes, I'm gonna lose it.
That will be easy.
You say it to
I
the
will
GM,
use
it's gonna happen.
Why do you think I said it?
No.
easy weakness. I cast right click smite.
Love
Yes.
it.
Yes. But that's going to be his path of action for the rest of the remainder of the period.
So I'll say, yeah, working with that, you can cobble together the beginnings of it. You would effectively need to do like the equivalent of a high-tech version of like a ritual. So I'll have to come
Sure.
up with like some DCs and whatnot for how something like that would work.
All right.
And we'll say that's what you're doing.
Mhm.
Vinna is able to create this ship that the outer part of it is kind of because it's still built in the framework of the very, very old spaceship that you inherited from the professor. But the computer is tip-top shape and just as modern as ever, despite the history inside it. And the rest of you can begin work on trying to gather allies for how the heck to deal with this plan to go at the eye.
I was wondering if Rakata could try to get with his contacts in the Digital Guardians. Try to see if there's some way we can make a giant version, a device that we could conjure our giant version of a stalwart shield. Perhaps maybe something that gets put in the center of Del Diablo, or multiple very big conduits that we have to put around the perimeter. They make the bubble.
In an effort to like stop the spread of corruption, or
Yes, because the stalwart shield, nothing can go in.
would that be then around the eye as well? Okay. You can look into it. It would take an incredible amount of effort. But you can at least start working on if something like that is even viable.
I don't know if you've played Mass Effect 3, but it's essentially trying to build that. Where it's like,
I have not.
yeah, there's going to be De-Fraggers for this part, and then probably Apogees for like the making sure that the code of it works so it doesn't like glitch out itself from over corruption.
Would you be like shrinking the shield down to try and shut the eye?
Maybe. That's what I was thinking. Okay, so Pat is going to go to Simon. I'm not going to do it in character. And he's going to discuss this idea, and he was thinking maybe it could be fueled on the corruption itself, so it sustains itself indefinitely. If the eye stays open, the device stays powerful. And the more the eye tries to resist, the stronger the barrier. Something like that. And he would be talking with other like Apogees, De-Fragger.
So, I will say that the remainder of the handful of little plot hooks that I've thrown out can be done in our RP chat. And next time,
Exactly.
What the fuck?
next time
It
we
was
will
Bob.
pick
He
up
got excited.
with the group of you making a plan to potentially create a firewall around the degradation zone and take the fight straight to the eye in an attempt to close it.
I feel like Bob would be proud.
What if we do an Avengers Iron Man thing where we like fly something into it that it detonates?
As long
One
as
of
it's
many
not
options.
us,
Tune in next time to find out which we choose.
Yeah.
Let's
That,
like-
yes.
Let's go to a toy store and pick up like a drone, and we can just throw it in there.
Why don't we just fly the eagles over Mount Doom?
But no, we've got to have a tragic sacrifice though. We've got to have like the
If
the
only there
weird
was someone who's-
cute mascot character has to fly the rocket in for some reason because he's the only one small enough to reach the manual
Oh my
controls.
god, Bud is gonna die!
If only there was a certain,
Remember me!
if there was only a certain character who feels like she needs to redeem herself to the rest of the party and the world.
Oh, fuck that.
Enough!
Fly right into the sun.
Have we not have
She's
enough
not getting
drama?
off that easy.
Yeah, she's not gonna girl boss into the sun like that.
Ollie and Crypto finally hold hands as they go into the hole.
No!
No!
No, I refuse.
No!
No!
Bob, they're dating! You missed it!
So,
I
we'll
refuse.
pick up there next time. I'm gonna go around. Plugs. Aya, what do you have going on?
Hey everybody, my name is Aya Golder. You can find me all the places as such. I am in a bunch of different games, but I do run a game, which is every other Thursday on Fraction Moon D&D. It's the same week as Callie's game, so like next week, just check the schedule. It's there. Our game is Magical School Game Mystery Adventure. I crushed Callie's heart physically and metaphorically. So, you know, oopsie daisy. Come check that out. It's very fun. Good times all around. I love those dorks more than I love life. So, there you go.
Callie, do you want to go next?
Yeah. You just saw my range of emotions where I remembered that I did get crushed physically. That did happen.
Literally got crushed. Yes.
Literally got crushed. Yeah.
Yeah.
So physically and emotionally, yes.
So, yeah.
I did. Anyway, same week as Saffron Academy is Unwritten. It happens every other Tuesday at 8 o'clock. Aya and Reese are in it. And I am going to try to make people cry on our finale of the first book of Unwritten. Please watch it. I might cry. So, you know, what?
Perfect time.
Whatever.
You
Just
might
watch it. It's
cry,
on
or you
Fresh
might
Moon
just
D&D at 8 o'clock.
evolve. That was some data degradation right there. That was.
Internet.
That was
fun.
crazy.
I will cry or I will internet.
I was just modem noises.
Jesse, do you want to go next?
Well, hi!
You can catch me tomorrow at this channel at this about time for Mysteries of the Silver Fleet with Blake and his crazy dark matter shenanigans. And y'all can see what Rusty and his crab tank got up to. Because if there's anything that I love, it's crabs. So speaking on that, next Saturday, we'll be back with Ghosts of Saltmarsh again, where my Fazandar and his crab familiar we'll be trying to help everyone figure out what the fuck to do about this lamplight ghost or something. I don't know, man. It's crazy town. And Scotty's gone, so he can't help me fill in the gaps. Additionally, I also am still recording new episodes of Quest for the Quantum Rose, but we are in production for season 2, so keep an eye out for that soon. But you can see season 1 over at my YouTube channel at youtube.com/backchannel. And that's all for me. Take it away, Kat.
Bob, what do you got going on?
Lacquered wood, silicone, surgical steel. You asked for plugs, right? Oh, I'm sorry. Okay. So,
This is a mature stream, kids.
Aya's perfect face. Thank you.
I mean, it could have been a lot worse when you went with plugs. I mean, we're thinking ears.
Have you
nostrils.
seen
clearly.
Have you seen the Deadpool clip from last session? Because oh my god, You'll
I'm
have
not.
to show it to you.
Don't talk about it.
That's
Don't-
okay.
Oh,
We don't
we have
Anyway.
to talk
we
about
don't
it.
talk
No,
about Bruno. Moving on.
Anyway, what do you got going
Anyway,
on?
yes. So, hey, hi, Worldwide Sentai. This is Bob Scary. Coming at you live from Scotty Hood's channel. You can find me on Twitch, TikTok, Instagram, YouTube, and a slew of other places by my handle, Bob Scary VOA. You can also go to bobscaryvoa.com to listen to my demos because I'm, in fact, a voiceover artist. You can catch me on this channel once in a blue moon. You can catch me on Milady Saito's channel where I'm currently playing Monday nights. And eventually I will once again return to my channel, but I mean, Pokemon Arceus happened. I was trying to make it happen so we could do it on my channel, but don't worry about it. I have some things in the works.
Reese, what do you have going on?
First, I'd like to say I've missed this, so
Same.
and I will be sad.
Mood.
Will be sad when this is over. But
Aw.
but
There's always next game. Man.
I have
I always
plans
next
for
to
you, Reese. I have plans for you.
That sounds ominous.
don't threaten me with a good
Yeah.
time.
I was gonna say
I'm
that's
scared.
threatening aura there, Bob.
But I'm in a game on Chrome Chimera over on YouTube. It's called Dishonored. Last night we just recorded the next episode, and it was also a episode.
What?
So
Good
that was
name
fun.
for it. Yeah.
But yeah, again, check that out on YouTube. Crow and Chimera. Lots of other stuff there.
Yeah.
So
That Dishonored episode goes live Monday the 14th, so Valentine's Day at noon, provided everything works and my internet
Think
doesn't
it's an
die.
Appropriate Valentine's Day episode.
Honestly, okay, there were a few dirty jokes in there. Not as many as last session, I will say.
slight spoiler. It's just my characters and cat character, so you could potentially call it a date. It's not really.
Wait a minute. Wait a minute.
Hello.
Not. And there's also a dude peeking on people.
I'm
Wait a
sorry,
minute,
I hear
okay.
seagulls. Did that ship just sail?
No.
So
No.
boy, am I right, ladies?
And then the Monday after that, so the 21st, our next Baltimore by Night episode will go live.
Besides,
And
that's
this
when
one,
you die during
my
the show.
character may or may not go into frenzy as soon as I wake up because poor
There
choices.
is
You gotta hydrate.
there is a 50% chance that will happen, and it's cats, so you know it's gonna happen.
Yeah.
Oh,
Yeah.
Lips.
But keep an eye out for that. That's also on Crown Chimera on YouTube every other Monday at noon. And I also usually post on our Twitter a handful of like clips with the funniest moments of the episode, as well as Callie's amazing collages of no context spoilers.
Oh my God,
so
those are the best.
fucking funny.
Have been amazing.
No,
It's an art form. I swear to God. Like, how do you do that? Like,
it's very
It's
good.
so good. Yeah, so check that out. And Scott, do you want to close this out?
Yeah. Sorry if you guys had to BS, but I had to walk out
You're
there.
fine.
So tomorrow, we're, as I said last week, we're back on our original schedules. So at 3 p.m. Eastern Standard Time, we'll be continuing our Chaos Screw adventures, where I believe we are in the plane of air. Some of us might be getting sucked to the quasi-elemental plane of lightning.
That's fine.
It's fine.
shocking.
And you might be asking, who in the Chaos Crew is in this Pearl while everyone else isn't?
His name starts with P and ends with Asians.
PPation?
Yeah. You got it.
Just like starts with P and ends with Airy, but that's a different show.
Yes. And at 7 p.m. Eastern Standard Time tomorrow as well, February 12th, for those curious. We will be continuing our Dark Matter campaign with our DM, Blake, who has us doing a bunch of crazy, wacky side quest adventures? Are we gonna go try to figure out static? Are we gonna try to do other stuff? Are we gonna try to make a big giant mech crab?
Yes, I'll be real with you. Like, I just want to make as much scratch as possible, as fast as possible, so I can build us all the toys. Like, Rusty just wants to make a menagerie of mecha nonsense for everybody. It's gonna be fabulous once it's done.
Is Sage's character gonna throw a cardboard box at my head? We'll see.
Sage's character might throw a ship at your head.
Maybe.
And in 2 weeks, we'll see you back here for the next episode of this chaotic mess. See you guys next time.
Keep being heroes.
Bye.
Get the fuck out of here!